Hello children, welcome to your science class. In the past few classes, we have learned chapter 10, Motion and Measurement of Distances of your NCERT science textbook. In today's class, we are going to have a quick revision of this entire chapter. We are again going to have a small brief up of what is motion and measurement of distances. Here are the few images of the most used means of transport to travel from one place to another. Most of the time we travel by foot from one place to another for smaller distances. Let's recall the story of transport. During the ancient days, when people had no transportation facilities, they used to move on foot and carry goods on their back. Later, they used the animals for transportation purpose. The first means of transport built by man was a boat to travel through waterways. The invention of wheel was the first step to advancement for the living and transportation. Invention of steam engine led to development of new means of transport, which is the result we see as trains, cars, trucks, etc. The advanced studies and their application now led to travel through electric trains, aeroplanes, spacecrafts, etc. This was about the evolution of transportation. But to reach the destination or to reach from one place to another, it is also important to know the distance to that place where you want to reach. It can be a smaller distance or a larger one. Its measurement should be known. I hope you have remembered the experience of Bhujo and Paheli about measuring the desk equally for sharing. When they measured with different sets of gilli and danda, the results were not the same. Then they tried to measure it with a thread and folded it into fractional units for correct measurement. This also led to their confusion. Measuring of any object will be easier when you measure it with a proper scale with standard units mentioned on that device. For example, a ruler scale in your geometry box. Measurement is really very important at every part of life and in most of the professional fields like a tailor who measures the cloth to stitch. A carpenter who measures the height and width of the wood to design furniture. A farmer who needs to know the land area for sowing seeds. Even we need to know how tall we are. Above all discussed examples are the measurement of lengths or the distance between two places. Measurement means it is the comparison of an unknown quantity with some known quantity. It is fixed and expressed in units. The measurement is expressed in two parts. The first part is a number. We usually divide parts into numbers. The first part is the number and the second part is a fixed constant unit which is considered as a standard measurement. So that number of units will be the measurement of any object. To express the measurement, there is need of some standard units which should be accepted by everybody at every corner of the world. For that, during the olden days, people used to measure with the length of their foot, width of a finger, and distance of step to measure the length between 2 points. Some ancient units of measurements are, first one is the cubit, which was used in Egypt, which was used by Egyptians during the ancient times, and a cubit is the length from the elbow to the fingertips. Few people used foot or the feet, whose standard measurement of unit varied from place to place. Yard. Yard was also the another unit of measurement. It was used by the cloth merchants. A yard is the distance between end of an outstretched arm and their chin. The other ancient unit of measurement was the pace. The Romans measured distances with pace or number of steps. In India, till today, flower vendors sell flowers in measurements of a finger or fist. Even they use cubits. But all these measurements are based on body parts, which differ from one person to another. So, they cannot be the standard units or the constant units for measurement. Then, the French discovered the metric system of measurement. Later, the discovery of measurement underwent several changes, several proposals, and then one standard unit known as the International System of Units, that is the SI units, is accepted worldwide now. As our chapter is about measurement of distance, that means length, SI unit of length is meter, and 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, and 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. For measuring larger distances, SI unit used is kilometer, where 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters. These SI units are marked on several measuring devices like meter scale, measuring tape, meter rod, etc. We have also learned some set of rules to be followed for getting correct measurement of length. First one is that the scale should be always in contact with the object while measuring. Second one is, if it is a broken scale, the measurement should be done from a full mark of the scale, and then it should be calculated correctly by deducting the units which are present before the full mark which we considered. Third is, while reading the measurement, the correct position of eye should be in front of the point. The third rule is, while reading the measurement, the correct position of eye is in front of the point, otherwise we get incorrect results. Next, we learned how to measure a curved line using a thread, because a curved line's measurement cannot be done by using the straight and stiff scales. But even these threads also, at the end, after, as we have seen in the activity, after completing the activity or measuring it with a thread, At the end, we measure the thread on a scale to express the length of a curved line in SI units. Even for this also, we finally need a measuring device which have properly mentioned SI units on it. Children, we have also observed that all those objects we see that do not move also show some movement at some point of time. For example, a ceiling fan. Yes, when we switch it off, it does not show any movement. That means it is not capable of, that does not mean it is not capable of moving. When given any force or pressure, some objects show movement. That means they change their position. So, the definition of motion means that movement or motion is some kind of a change in the position of an object with time. In this chapter, in the previous class, we learned 3 different types of motion. First, rectilinear motion. The objects that move along a straight line are said to be in rectilinear motion. For example, soldiers doing march past, cars going in a straight line. That means any objects which move along a straight line meant to be showing rectilinear motion. And the second type is the circular motion. For that, if you do an activity by taking a stone which is tied to a thread and whirl it with your hand, you see the stone moves in a circular path where the distance of the stone from the hand remains the same. That means the distance remains the same, but it shows a circular path. It shows a movement in circular path. So this type of motion is called the circular motion. For example, a Ferris wheel, an electric fan, etc. The third one is the periodic motion, where the object repeats its motion after some time. As you can see in the image, in periodic motion, an object shows or repeats its motion after some time. For example, a swing. If you tie a thread to the stone and hang it from your hand, it moves in a to and fro motion, and it is called a pendulum, which is usually seen in old clocks. That means periodic motion means a to and fro motion shown by any object means that it is showing a periodic motion. For example, a sewing machine, which shows circular motion at the wheel and a periodic motion of the needle which are fixed to it, and they shows the movement when they are used. So children, this is about motion and measurement of distances.